There are moments in life that define you. Not 1,000 little actions, not endless words, but one choice, one act, one moment of clarity that shifts everything. People spend years trying to be noticed, trying to impress, trying to force others to see their worth. But the truth is, people don't remember the noise. They don't remember every detail. They remember impact. And impact is created not by chasing attention, but by embodying something unforgettable. Do this once, and people will never forget you. Most of the world blends into the background. They dress the same, talk the same, move the same because they're terrified of standing out. They fit in so perfectly that they vanish into invisibility. And invisibility is safe, but it's forgettable. If you want to live beyond forgettable, if you want your presence to stamp itself into people's memory, you must step outside the frame they've tried to trap you in. You must bring something so real, so intentional, so unshaken that no one can ignore it. The thing people never forget is authenticity. The moment you stop hiding behind masks, stop bending to approval, and start carrying yourself in raw truth, you become unforgettable. Why? Because almost no one does it. The world is full of actors on a stage, desperate for applause. But every once in a while, someone walks in who doesn't need applause. Someone who looks people in the eyes and says by their very presence, "I know who I am." That silence, that calm confidence, that unapologetic authenticity burns into memory deeper than 1,000 speeches. Think back to the people you've met in your life. You don't remember every conversation. You don't remember every interaction. But I guarantee there are a few who left a mark simply by the way they carried themselves. Their dignity, their ability to remain calm when everyone else was loud, their willingness to speak truth when everyone else whispered lies, the courage to be different in a room full of sameness. That's what the human soul respects. That's what lasts. Here's where most people fail. They think being unforgettable requires drama. They think they need to shout louder, demand attention, dominate every conversation. But noise only fades. The loudest voices are forgotten the quickest because there's nothing rare about volume. What's rare is presence. Presence doesn't demand the room, it reshapes it. Presence doesn't scream, it commands through calm steadiness. And when you embody that presence, even once, people never forget you. It begins with how you hold your ground. When someone pushes, do you panic? When life insults you, do you fight back with desperation? Or do you remain rooted, calm, untouchable? People may not admit it, but they are drawn to those they cannot shake. They test you, hoping to find weakness. But when their words bounce off, when you refuse to flinch, that image burns itself into their mind. This one is untouchable. This one is different. Respect isn't earned by endless talking. Respect is earned in one moment of discipline. The day you refuse to break under pressure is the day people shift how they look at you forever. There's something magnetic about restraint. When everyone else reacts and you respond with calm strength, it unsettles them. They expected you to get rattled. You didn't. And because you didn't, they'll never forget you. Think of history's leaders, thinkers, and legends. What makes them unforgettable? Not perfection, not motivation alone, but moments. One act of courage. One refusal to bow. One display of discipline under fire. That's all it takes. Because memory feeds on contrasts. In a world of noise, the quiet one is remembered. In a crowd of copies, the original is remembered. In storms of weakness, the strong stance is remembered. So if you want to be unforgettable, train discipline over desire. Train self-respect over approval. Train calmness over chaos. Because one act of true discipline imprints deeper than years of chatter. You could live your whole life chasing applause, and people will still forget you. But do this once, stand firm, unshaken, unapologetically authentic, and you'll burn into their memory for life. This is the contrast between fragile living and powerful living. Fragile living bends at every opinion, every judgment, every whisper of criticism. Powerful living stands tall regardless of the storm. Do this once, stand tall, and you'll inspire not just respect, but wonder. People will wonder how you did it, how you didn't flinch, how you kept your dignity when they tried to take it. That image etches itself into their story of you. One of the most unforgettable things you can do is walk away without bitterness, not slamming doors, not shouting, just walking with your peace intact. Because walking away with dignity is rare. Anyone can argue. Anyone can throw insults. Anyone can lose control. Almost no one can walk away untouched. People remember that. They feel it. And it defines how they'll think of you forever. Another unforgettable act? Protecting your truth at the cost of approval. When the crowd wants conformity and you remain authentic, you show courage people cannot forget. They may call you difficult, they may misunderstand you, but silently they know they'll always remember that you refuse to betray yourself just to be liked. That memory lasts far longer than fitting in ever will. Do this once. Refuse to be manipulated. Refuse to be controlled. Refuse to break your principles, even when it would be easier to bend. That kind of strength shocks people, because most of them collapse at the first sign of pressure. They'll never forget the one who didn't. It's not about being perfect. It's about being principled. It's not about being loud. It's about being steady. It's not about demanding recognition. It's about deserving respect. And when you live that way, even just once in front of others, you make yourself unforgettable. Years later, people may forget your clothes, your words, even your name, but they'll never forget how you carried yourself. They'll never forget the calm, the strength, the authenticity. They'll never forget the image of someone who refused to bend. So if you're still desperate to be liked, you'll disappear. But if you choose instead to be authentic, disciplined, unshaken, you won't just be remembered. You'll be impossible to forget. Because true legacy isn't carved in marble statues or written in applause. It's engraved in memory. And memory doesn't cling to noise, it clings to presence. Do this once, and no one will ever forget you. The reason so many people fade into the background is because they chase forgettable things. They chase approval, and approval is like mist. It vanishes as soon as the heat of life shows up. They chase applause, but applause always dies down after the performance. They chase popularity, but popularity shifts with the weather. None of these things make you unforgettable because they are temporary. What lasts is character. What lasts is presence. What lasts is discipline. So let me be clear. If you want to be unforgettable, stop begging for people to notice you and start building yourself into someone worth remembering. Because no one forgets strength. No one forgets courage. No one forgets the person who keeps their head high while everyone else bows. That's the truth people rarely talk about. It only takes one demonstration of inner strength to anchor you in someone's memory for life. Think about the teachers you had growing up. Did you remember the ones who blended into the noise, doing everything the same as everyone else? Or do you remember the ones who believed in you when no one else did? The ones who carried themselves with conviction, the ones who weren't afraid to stand tall. That's what sticks. Not surface-level performance, but authenticity under pressure. Do this once. Refuse to crumble when someone is trying to humiliate you. Refuse to be dragged into drama, and they will never forget the person who stayed calm, dignified, and untouchable in the middle of chaos. It imprints itself onto their mind because it's rare, and what's rare is valuable. Here's what people secretly admire: discipline. Not the discipline that shouts about itself, but the self-control that radiates without words. When you hold yourself to higher standards, others notice. When you refuse to be baited into arguments, when you rise above bitterness, when you live by principles instead of impulses, people can't ignore you. They might not clap. They might not admit it. But deep down, they'll never forget it. Contrast is everything. In a world where almost everyone bends, the one who doesn't remains unforgettable. In a world dominated by noise, the one who stays silent and steady commands attention. In a world full of masks, the one who dares to be authentic becomes iconic. That's the power of standing out not through arrogance, but through integrity. Do this once, and you shift their perception of you forever. Understand this. Unforgettable doesn't mean liked by everyone. In fact, if you are truly unforgettable, some people will dislike you because they couldn't control you. Some will resent you because your strength exposes their weakness. But even in their resentment, they will never forget you because they cannot deny you. Presence leaves an imprint deeper than approval ever could. When you die, no one will remember the dozens of times you posted for attention. No one will remember the nights you stayed up worrying if you fit their standards. But they will remember how you made them feel in the defining moments. Did you inspire them, unsettle them, empower them, challenge them? Did you stand firm when everyone else collapsed? Did you live with authenticity when everyone else diluted themselves? These are the things that carve legacy. So here's what you must take with you. Being unforgettable is not about doing everything. It's about one thing done with conviction, one act of courage, one decision to stand tall, one refusal to betray yourself for the sake of the crowd. That one moment carries weight greater than a lifetime of pretending. Yes, it's risky to be authentic. Yes, it may cost you approval, but approval is rented. Impact is owned. Approval fades. Presence lasts. Approval chains you. Authenticity frees you. Don't live for temporary claps when you can live for eternal memory. Do this once and you will never be forgotten. And when the day comes that you look back at your life, you won't measure it by how many people liked you in passing. You'll measure it by whether you dared to stand out, to be whole, to be real. And if you did, then you will know your life was not invisible. It was unforgettable. Do this once and you will never fade into the background again. Do this once and people will speak of you with respect even when you're gone. Do this once and you'll realize that greatness doesn't come from the crowd remembering your words. It comes from them remembering your presence. So rise. Stand tall. Stop hiding. Stop shrinking. Stop begging for recognition. The world does not remember those who blend in. It remembers those who walk their path unapologetically. Do it once, with courage, and you will etch yourself into memory forever.